Good morning. Welcome to the pre-meeting of the Newark Municipal Council on Wednesday, September 3rd. Council President, council members, we are on page 3 of the agenda, item 5, reports and recommendations of city officers, boards, and commissions.
Any questions, comments from the council?
I do have a
Councilman Gonzalez.
concern regarding the agendas for, you remember that we requested some agendas from the committee that is to be formed so that we can have the tax abatements or that I can participate in the tax abatements. The lady accused me of being the derelict on my duties and all that stuff. So I want to see that that committee have met and that we have copies of the minutes of those committees.
Certainly.
And I understand that I requested it. I understand you requested it. My concern is, have we received it?
And also the business administrator also requested it too.
Yes.
So
Yes, he did. I'll follow up,
follow
Councilman.
up on that.
Yep, certainly.
Next item.
Ordinances on first reading. 6FA is an ordinance amending for additional filters at the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant.
Ben, if you can come up and just give another explanation of the.
Good morning, Council President, council members. Benjamin Guzman, Acting Director of Finance. This is to amend an existing project for the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant. There's been a need to increase due to cost overruns and for additional work that's being done to the Pequannock Water Treatment Plant. So we're looking to increase that by an additional $15 million. And this is to authorize that increase and then be able to make those improvements. Again, these funds will be borrowed through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. Again, either low or no interest, and there will be, at the time when those bonds or notes will be sold, there will be a percentage of that that will be forgiven. What that amount is exactly is not known, but it is anticipated to be a minimum of 50%, 50% of it to be forgiven.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Councilman Gonzalez.
Not specifically on this ordinance, but let's see, I have seen an increase in bonding in the last couple of years. I would love to see how that affected the debt service of the city, increase or decrease in the last couple of years. In addition to that, I have seen we have entered into long-term leases. I would like to see how much we pay annually on those long-term leases.
Absolutely, Councilman. We'll gather that information.
There is one for the range, for the shooting range, that I believe is like $800,000 a year. And the one that we just entered for the hotel, the Riviera Hotel, I would like to see how that affects our ability in the future to finance projects by bonding.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll gather that information and get that to you in the council.
Yeah, Council President.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman Gonzalez. He brings up a great point. You know, in addition to that, you have the police academy, right? Which is, I don't know how many millions a year in lease payments. So if you can put together, or administration, a list of all the long-term leases that we have for different functions that the city needs to operate and what the overall cost is for these leases, and even project it out over, let's say, 10, 15 years.
Thank you, Councilman Ramos. Anything else from the council? Thank you, Director.
B is an ordinance providing for the Green Parks Project and appropriating $4,050,000 to finance same.
You read my mind, Director. I was going to say, don't say that.
That's what I say. Again, good morning. I'm Benjamin Guzman, Acting Director of Finance. Again, this is for specific projects, for the Green Parks projects. You know, the departments themselves would know, but again,
I don't know if can you Either move the mic up or have somebody turn it up. 'cause I
Absolutely. Is that a little bit better?
It's better.
Okay. Again, for project specifics, I believe in the Green Parks project, I believe this is being run by the Department of Water and Sewer. They gave you more specifics on the projects, but again, they are applying for funding through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank. And then similarly, as to the prior ordinance, will be, once adopted an ordinance, we will be applying for funding through the Infrastructure Bank again, through principal forgiveness and favorable interest rates.
Thank you. Any questions from the council? Hearing none. Thank you, Director. Next item.
C is an ordinance amending multi-way stop intersections by designating Second Avenue West and North 7th Street as a multi-way stop sign intersection in the North Ward.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
D is an ordinance to create the intermodal container lot license and establish rules and regulations.
Is the deputy mayor here? I thought I saw her. Can we get a explanation on this matter again, or someone? I tell you what, let's come back to that one when come back to it. All right. So what was the pleasure? To defer? Is that
To
what
defer, the BA said.
Defer.
Okay.
Duly
Mr.
noted.
President,
Councilman Raymond.
going back to the four-way stop sign, could we get the letter that originated that request, just so we have it for our records? So what was that, Second Avenue and 7th Street, you said?
Yes,
Second Ave and North
Yeah.
7th.
second it.
Okay. Yeah, just give me the letter that prompted this so that we have it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any, all right, so referring 6FD, next item.
Public hearing, second reading and final passage. 6P, SFA, and B, there's a request to defer both items from finance. C is an ordinance to raise the threshold for the bidding requirements to $53,000 and the quotation threshold to $7,950.
And I know we're deferring these, but what's the reason why we're continuing to defer? If we can just get a quick explanation.
Good morning, Council President, council members. Benjamin Guzman, Acting Director of Finance. For the two bond ordinances for the General Capital and the Resilient Hope projects, the reason why we're asking for another deferral is the local finance board has yet to hear our application. They had delayed it, I believe was due to the budget process for the city. They were waiting until it was introduced. Now that it has been introduced, we anticipate that our application will be heard at next week's LFB meeting on September 10th. After it's been held and we've given approval, then we'll be able to adopt on second reading.
So probably at the next.
At the meeting of the 17th, correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
D is an ordinance to increase the authority of the Corporation Council to $53,000 without the approval of the Municipal Council.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, hearing none, next item.
E is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to Central Point Urban Renewal LLC for a project involving the demolition of the existing one-story commercial structure and construction of a new 6-story multifamily building with 16 affordable housing rental units in the Central Ward, sponsored by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree, second by Councilman Kelly.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
F is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 824 South 20th Street, 824 South 20th Management Urban Renewal Entity, LLC, for a project to construct a new 4-story residential multifamily dwelling consisting of 25 affordable housing rental units in the South Ward, sponsored by Councilman Council, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
G is an ordinance granting a 25-year tax abatement to 300 Garside Management Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 5-story residential multifamily dwelling consisting of 25 affordable housing residential units in the North Ward, sponsored by Councilman Ramos, second by Councilman Quintana.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
H is an ordinance authorizing a corrective deed for property in the West Ward.
I'd like to sponsor that.
Sponsored by Councilman Kelly, second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted.
And just for the record, this is, and if, correct me if I'm wrong, this is just to correct an error with the legal description.
Yes.
Thank you.
I is an ordinance authorizing the assignment and assumption of the financial agreement to amend the project description and amend construction schedule, sponsored by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree, second by Councilman Kelly.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
J is an ordinance authorizing a special emergency appropriation, and the public hearing will be held next week at the special meeting on September 9th, 2025.
Thank you. Next item.
Resolutions. 7R1A through C are temporary emergency appropriations. A is for the Anti-Violence for Out-of-School Youth Project. B is for the Sub-Regional Transportation Planning Program. And C is for Clean Communities.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
D is a bid contract to provide fire hydrant tools.
Questions? Next item.
Yep, Mr. Chair.
Councilman,
I want to go back to C, to the Clean Communities Grant. I'm not sure if Director Adeem is here, but, you know, throughout the entire city, and I know specifically the South Ward, we've been having problems with major swaths of trash being put on our islands. We've been trying to notify the residents as well by letter. But in terms of, you know, these clean community monies, there has to be something that's done to get some lawn signs or some signs with some QR codes on them that tell folks to stop dumping in the middle of these islands, and then have information on the QR codes that you can be able to pull up. We've been talking about this for a long period of time, but there needs to be some kind of immediate action that is done on this. You know, we can't be able to, you know, try to advise residents on what to do if we're not getting the support and efforts from our administrative partners. And so as the clean communities monies flow and all, and there are some there that can, I know, be used for recycling and other ventures. It can also be used as educational tools to educate the folks on littering and you know, dumping. So it's important, you know, that we get these things done.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kelly first.
Thank you for that reminder too, Councilman Council. We have a similar situation in the West Ward. On Smith Street, the back of Smith Street is considered the backyard of Smith Street, but it's actually Telford. And we have a lot of dumping that happens on the back on Telford, which is the back of Smith Street. And on those properties, it's not actually in the people's yard, it's outside of their yard. I'm guessing they don't really use the back gates. So it's a lot of dumping. And every week I feel like I'm calling DPW to clean up that area. So there has to be, I mean, I like your suggestion, Councilman Council, if there's some lawn signs with QR codes that can be put there, or if we can get a camera in some of these hot zones. And I know we've had many discussions about cameras in hot zones of dumping sites, but there has to be something, or I'm calling DPW every week to clean up something that's really, you know, that they're not really scheduled to clean up. And it's becoming a problem because it's making the community dirty. And when we don't clean it up, you know, my office gets hit with a lot of those conversations. So we have to be able to utilize this money to do something in that area.
Thank you. Councilman Gonzalez.
Yes, let me pour some more water into that. It's Second Avenue and Mount Prospect Avenue. There is an empty lot in the corner. They have there's a lot of dumping, illegal dumping there.
Third Avenue.
Third Avenue,
Yeah.
yeah, Third Avenue and Mount Prospect. There's a huge dumping ground there. I went there yesterday, and it's humongous. What they have there is a lot of garbage bags, a lot of stuff thrown there, and that lot also has to be cleaned. They say usually when we say something here gets clean, but now they have again trees and a lot of bushes in that lot that should be cleaned.
Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Council. And so let me just, I guess I'm piling on right now, but let me just add, in general, I believe, and I've seen that DPW has been doing a yeoman's job in helping to make our streets cleaner, much cleaner than they were a month or 2 months ago. And so I appreciate that. What I will say, and I thought about this, is I don't know if DPW has, like the police have, hot spots where they know there's going to be illegal dumping, because there's certain places that there are always illegal dumping. We know that. Whether we need to come up with a plan or strategy to deal with the owners of that property, not just cleaning up that property, particularly if it's not a city-owned and it's an individual or a privately owned, where we do find them and do whatever's necessary to give them the necessary incentive to say, you need to clean this up and keep it clean. So I think that's something I just wanted to throw out there, but Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Just to follow up with Councilman Gonzalez's point, that the owner of that property there, we've reached out to the city. I totally agree. Like they're responsible primarily for a lot of the issues we have on that corner. I know they went to zoning years ago to get approval. They didn't get approval, and now it seems like they've kind of put their hands up in the air and allowed the lot to become pretty much abandoned, and people dump there because the lot looks terrible. So we have to follow up and find the owner, make him accountable primarily for that site. It's not the city's responsibility to clean up his lot. But then the other point I want to raise is off of Chester Avenue on Riverside over the weekend, and it's an area, and I'm sure Kareem knows it well. Like we saw a guy dumping illegally. We try to follow him. He had his license plates covered. He hit 21 and went God knows where. So we've talked for years about how we need either cameras that the city can put up or use access to some of the private owners. You got Lembo down there with the what is that, street snow plowing business and mechanic shop. They should be good citizens and put up some cameras that can help the city catch some of these illegal dumpers there. But that area, I'm sure it's costing you a ton of money every weekend having to clean up construction debris. They just don't put little garbage bags out. They put tiles, they put bathtubs, toilets, and I can't imagine the amount of resources that DPW has had to deploy over the years, because people use that as an easy spot to dump, and then they hop onto Route 21 and you're never going to catch them. So
Thank you. Councilman Quintana.
Back in the 80s, the city had an initiative. It started with Mayor James, and we would reward citizens that would identify someone who was illegally dumping, and we would confiscate their vehicles, and we would do as such. And a lot of people would call. And I know if you were around, and I was one who caught a guy, and his vehicle was dumped. He was illegally dumping across the street on Bel Air Place. And due to that, this gentleman lost his vehicle, cited. We have to also give something to our citizens. Say, if you see something, let us know who it is. Take the plate number. And then we should do something. I mean, to say that we're going to look at all these other alternatives, but we got to also include our residents. If you see something, let us know. I mean, it's simple. Everybody has a phone. You could tape it. You could do whatever you need to do. But that was done back in the day. And it sent a message. And then what we would do, it was notify the people in the town where these individuals lived. that they were illegally dumping in our city. And it was embarrassing to them. So again, we need to move into that. There's also a property that also on 2nd and Summer Avenue. That is a property, they do mechanic, body shops. They do any single thing. They got trucks there. And we fight people when they're loading, when they're parking trucks and all that in different places. We make them go for variances and et cetera. But then you have people who are doing mechanic work on the corner of 2nd Avenue and Summer. And it's like nothing. We have seen it when we go through the processions. It's year after year. So this is also for code enforcement and public works to work together on these matters, because this is what's affecting, that we can't just say the Department of Public Works. We got to get also the code enforcement to go out and do some of this work too. Cite these people, 13 A's. I remember back in the day, Mr. BA, we, the mayor's staff at the time, was deputy mayor, we were given a 13A. We were giving out 13 A's for cleaning up. And we would go and stop and somebody say, you didn't clean your curve, you're going to get a 13A, a warning, and they would clean up. See, we get, and the theme was, we can be poor, we can be clean. So, but we got to start, getting our residents involved and letting us know and report what is taking place. Because if somebody's dumping and we let it go, then we're part of the problem.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Silva.
I just want to reiterate what you said, Councilman. I've seen dramatic improvement in the hard work that you guys have been doing, and I appreciate that because I've sat at this microphone and complained a lot, and so I really appreciate the fact that we've seen a vast improvement in the East Ward. But also, I just want to request one thing. When you put out literature, that we put it out in different languages, because everything that I read that comes from DPW is just in one language. A lot of there was garbage pickup on Monday, on Labor Day, and I appreciate that. But then we have to translate it ourselves into different languages, because obviously the East Ward is made up of a lot of different cultures, and a lot of people there don't speak or read the language. And so I just ask that if anything put out, we'll translate it for you if we have to. If it could just be, if possible, if you don't put it out, to at least let us know in advance, we'll have it translated. But again, I think a lot of my issues in the East Ward are people that don't know about Waydell Street and Earl Street and Verone Avenue, the dump sites. And I think if we start getting people to start utilizing those locations and the value of it, I think it would make your guys' jobs a lot easier. But we need to get the message across to those people that don't speak the language.
Thank you, Councilman. Director.
Yeah, I just want to
I'm sorry.
comment to the
Councilman.
director. They say, I complained that let's say the recycling is not picked up on time. This last 2 weeks, it has been picked up at night on the Mondays, and the garbage has been picked up during the day, early in the day. So thank you very much for listening to us.
Director.
Good morning, Council
morning.
President, Council members. Kareem Nadeem, Interim Director, DPW. First, I want to just address Councilman Council's complaint. Yeah, we're going to work with the Department of Traffic and Signals. We don't think we're going to use the grant for that to get some more signage out. However, we will do some literature out. Probably later this weekend, it'll be a mailing go out. If you know, when we send mailings out, we normally send them out in 4 different languages, Portuguese, Spanish, Creole, and English, and we translate on the website. If you know the water department, right, I'm also the director of the water department. Like the little UN, right, speak about 20 different languages in the water department, and people can translate. So thank you for that, because we'll, the mailing that you'll see in a couple of days for B zone and A zone traffic, garbage and recycling, it'll be out in all those different languages that fly. The money that we're looking to do with the clean communities, normally we piggyback with the county and the police on using their cameras. We're going to look to get our own cameras, right? So we're going to look to use some of that clean community money to stop littering and illegal dumping, and some of those hot spots that we can't always depend on the police and the county with that little illegal dumping task force to do. So we've already looked at that. We're going to look to see if we can get that grant and lease some of that equipment in some of our hotspots. Signage, I said again, we'll continue to work with traffic and signal and put something up on the islands. We'll continue to push out our literature around Newark is not a dump. We don't, Newark is not a dump. We don't want your junk. I think it's a great idea. Those satellite sites were open last summer around this time. We can't say they do receive a lot of traffic, but we noticed that during the community meetings that we had in the last month, a lot of people wasn't aware of it. So we're looking to do a massive campaign, in the next month or two. You passed last August, you passed a contract for a couple of companies to help us with our public, I'm sorry, I'm lost for words. You passed a contract for us to use a consultant to help us, advertise like on billboards, get more billboards on the radio and different language, some of these news stations and local stations in your area and the local newspapers. So we'll be using that around, making sure residents know what day their garbage day is, what day their recycling day is, and also the drop-off centers. We're constantly out picking up mattresses and working in every area. Hats off to the administration. We've made some significant changes. The administration is in full support. We'd like to hear that the council is in support now of us moving forward and continuing the progress that we got too much. We're not taking a victory lap. It's just the beginning. We're still going to continue to make some changes around in the DPW and how we pick up garbage. We believe that we should have a clean city also.
Thank you, Director. Councilman Gonzalez, and then
Director, at one point in time, we had the cameras like 10 years or something like that. What happened to those cameras? They became obsolete?
So some of them became obsolete, and some of those cameras come from the county. Like we're sharing. You got the councilman right there that ran DPW at one time. But we need to have our own stuff. Right? Everybody has a priority. We can use them for 6 months, then they're taken. The police have cameras, but they need them for crime, right? It's not always in an illegal dump spot. We've looked at 3 different companies that will give us similar type of cameras that we can either lease or purchase, and we can move them around. They're tow around, so we can move them to hotspot as we need it, right? When you talk about Riverside, hotspot, they come off the highway right there, come off the highway, dump, and get right back on the highway. We talk about, Telford or Halstead up there, Smith Street with the Councilman Kelly talked about. Another hotspot. But also we got to, make sure we hold our residents accountable too. That's doing the illegal. We think a lot of it is outsiders. A lot of it is our own residents doing it. Right? So I agree. Maybe letting them know a little more about those satellite sites. They can come bring that stuff there and stop dumping it on Telford and Hartford and all those. We still do impound. We still do. I don't know if the police still do the forfeiture, but they still do impound cars when they catch them. And right, Councilman Quintana, you talked about the signs that used to be up that say reported illegal dumping, $1,000 if they're convicted. I don't know if that ordinance is still in effect, but that's something I think we should look at.
Director, what's the cost of the camera? Because at one point in time, the cost was prohibitive, but I suppose now the technology being old, the cost is much less.
Well, it depends on what we want to do with it, but it could be anywhere from, if you're purchasing that camera unit, it could be from, it's a tow around, like a compressor. You see the police have one. One of those units costs about 50 to 60,000, right? To renting a couple of them, that could be more like 5,000 a month.
Thank you.
We got to make sure that we're able to do the maintenance and the repairs on those things when they go down. We got to look at what's the best option for us.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, going back to Riverside, Kareem, again, you have some private businesses there that should be good citizens to the city. One of them has a contract to repair heavy-duty vehicles. The other one has a contract for snow plowing. Like, I don't understand why they can't, work with the city and put up some cameras on their property that can at least assist us in the interim to catch some of these illegal dumpers. Every time I drive through there, I feel for your team because, again, you're spending a lot of resources cleaning up mostly construction debris. And this has been happening for years. And over the weekend, that's usually when it gets out of control. The other thing, I just want to say thank you to your water sewer staff. I know at the last council meeting, I mentioned an issue with one of our homeowners who had been receiving an estimated water bill for like 6 years. And then when she actually got a real water bill, as you can imagine, it was kind of a shock that she owed, thousands of dollars to the city. And, they're at least being very kind in the way they're addressing her concern. They're in the process of auditing and just making sure that everything is being done correctly. But, I do appreciate your team for taking the time and, conducting themselves in a very professional manner with the homeowner. I happened to be on a Zoom call the other day, and, it's encouraging for her because she was distraught, to say the least, when she got her real bill. So, okay.
Thank you. And I think we got a presentation coming up on the next Tuesday for the special. We did start picking up recycling again at night.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly.
Real quick, and I know we can move on. I just want to let the people know that are watching today that what you said, Council President, actually works. When you take a picture, if you can get a picture, I know some of the people are scared to take the picture, just, they don't want anybody coming back to them. And what you said, Director, is true. I've located 2 people from pictures, video and a picture in the West Ward. And I just want the people to know that we have a team that goes out. Once you send us those pictures, we send those pictures or videos to a team who goes out, and like you said, Councilman Quintana, they find them, they, do all of those things that they're supposed to do to bring them to justice. But in those 2 pictures that I had in the West Ward, you wouldn't believe who did it. One, I won't say the store, but one was a corner store owner in the West Ward, and one was a resident. So it wasn't somebody that was outside. It was somebody who gets money from us by us patronizing their corner store. So the pictures and the videos work, people. Just send them to the office, send them to whoever you have to send them to, so we can get the task force out there that handles that, because they do work. And a lot of times it is our own people doing the dumping. So we have to man up as well.
Thank you, Councilman. I think that's real quick.
So I can't let everyone say something to you, Director, and not thank you for the experiences that we now currently have under your leadership as Acting Director for DPW. So I too have seen in the South Ward and throughout the city the change and the improvement, not just for recycling, because I know that my colleague Mike Silver had a whole list of text messages that were going out, and I haven't received any lately, not even from the residents. So once again, we thank you for the changes. And you said we're not taking a victory lap, but we're surely on our way around. So thank you for your leadership. Thank you for working with the individuals for improvement. And thank you for working with the workers to let them know that if they're not serving in excellence, that you are the director and you will take care of it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I think that's it for now. Thank you, Director.
Thank you, Councilman. I want to thank the administration, thank your support, and thank those men and women at DPW that's committed to getting our trash street clean.
Appreciate you. Next item.
E is a use and occupancy agreement, authorization to utilize the parking lot owned by the Newark Housing Authority located on Arlington Street for the Health Department.
Questions from the council? Hearing none, next item.
F is the execution of a labor agreement for the Newark Police Deputy Chiefs Association.
Questions from the council? Anything administration wants to say about this matter or no? It is what it is. Councilman Gonzalez.
Is this the last one that we have to approve with, or do we have any other pending contracts that need to be approved?
Is that a question? I thought there was a question. I think, is this the last contract? Is that what your question
The
was?
last contract, yes.
Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. I don't understand the question, Councilman. Sorry.
They said, we are settling with the deputy chiefs. Is there any other entity that we have to settle with?
Yes. We have nurses that we're dealing with, and that's it. Oh, no, and the NFOU as well.
The what?
NFOU, the fire officers, it's just about done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. BA.
You're welcome. But since I'm up here now, you wanted to move on.
I'm sorry.
Since I am up here and I know you wanted to move on before, I did just want to follow up on a couple of brief things. I wasn't going to step up here, but I do want to address an issue that came up about community cleanups, which have gone extremely well. The mayor has directed, all sorts of folks to participate in the community cleanups. Have really gone well. We intend to do it again. We need to get more and more people out there to do so. We're going to make sure that we utilize the sites that Councilman Silva identified, where residents can bring their refuse at any time and dump them off. Again, I wanted to just point out that under the interim direction of Kareem Adeem, he's not the acting director, he's the interim director, which means we're looking for a replacement director. If anybody has recommendations, please let me know. We'd like to get a new director in there so that Kareem Adeem can go to sleep sometime and spend time with his family. With respect to the illegal dumping, it was alluded to that there is a task force. I think Councilman Kelly mentioned that there's a task force. We do need community support and other support to make sure that we can identify the wrongdoers and bring them to justice. With respect to the property on, I think it's on 3rd Avenue and Mount Prospect, I'll make sure, I know that Director Wooden is here and she's prepared to answer any questions that have to be answered with respect to illegal dumping. But we are vigorously enforcing the vacant and abandoned property ordinance now, where we have some properties, mostly downtown properties right now in court where they have not complied with the new ordinance. We'll make sure that this particular property is included in that as well, because vacant land also can be included in the vacant abandoned property ordinance where there are reasonably significant fines. And I'll make sure that this one is included in that one as well.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair.
Councilman.
Just wanted to allude to the BA. On the last point that you made, I think it's critical that we have to start defining and informing our code enforcement officers, and specifically those people that we have approaching the vacant lot ordinance, to write it under that and not just write, clean and debris, but to write under the specific ordinance that is about vacant lots and property, which is critical.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Council. We've had several meetings recently in my office and in engineering to make sure that all the code enforcement officers understand that, particularly that these new statutes really have teeth, much more than a clean and lean. We will be able, once we prosecute these matters, to be significant fines, and they can be attached to the property and they're foreclosable. So they have a much more significant impact than a clean and lean ordinance. So to your point, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. BA.
Mr. President,
Councilman
in
Gonzalez.
that regard,
Yes, sir.
do they have a computer that would have a standard form that they can just stick in and they don't have to write? So that avoids, let's say, mistakes. That avoids cases being dismissed in court because, let's say, errors in typing or whatever.
Yes, Councilman Gonzalez, to your point, there is a standard form, but it does require description, and the description requires writing. And we are working to ensure that our code enforcement officers understand what has to be written, what pictures they have, and to make sure that they're available to testify in case there's either a proof hearing or actual challenge. Some of the downtown properties now that have been cited with the new ordinance, we're fairly confident that they have been written properly. The owners have gotten lawyers. We're consolidating those cases. They've been postponed twice, but we are aggressively pursuing that, and we expect that we'll have either a trial or resolution by guilty plea in the next month.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. BA. Next item.
7R2A is a professional service contract to provide professional architecture, civil, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection and structural engineering design services, as well as construction management.
Any questions or concerns from the council? Questions or concerns? Hearing none, next item.
B is a private sale redevelopment for new construction of 5 two-family homes to sell at market rate in the South Ward.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I ask for the item to be deferred.
Motion to defer. As a whole?
I'll second.
Okay. Council Ramos, to defer.
Duly noted. C is to execute a community benefits agreement as a condition of receiving tax credit incentives towards the construction of a medical office building in the South Ward. And a public hearing will be held during the municipal council meeting on Thursday, September 4th.
Questions from the council?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure if the deputy mayor is here, but I know that there was an issue around the execution of community benefits agreement over language that was needed by the state or the credits that they were trying to get. And everyone just want to make sure if that information was rectified so that the project can move along.
Anybody here from the EHD that can testify to that?
Good morning. Brandy
morning.
Daniel, Legislative Coordinator for Economic and Housing Development. To your question, Councilman Council, we're checking on that now. We'll have that information for you about it before the meeting tomorrow. There's possibly we will be deferring this item.
Deputy Mayor just walked in. That means she's prepared to respond. I don't mean to call you on the spot here, but
Yeah, I believe so. We're going to defer.
Councilman can repeat the question for you if necessary.
Thank you, Council President. Allison Ladd, Director of Economic and Housing Development. I did hear the council member's question, so I just wish I could walk faster from my office, so I apologize. So yes, at the last meeting, we asked for it to be deferred because we needed the EDA to approve the language. And so as of today, I do not have confirmation that EDA approved the language. So we are going to try again today to see if we can have this resolved before tomorrow so we can move forward with the public hearing. If it's not resolved, then we will ask for another deferral.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next item.
D is reading and adopting the 2025 annual budget of Newark Downtown District, and the public hearing will be tomorrow in the council chamber.
Questions from the council? Councilman Gonzalez.
Since this was consolidated with the other one that we have after that, the Newark Alliance and the Tourism Board, do we have one budget for all of them, or do we have three different budgets?
Mr. B.A.
Good morning, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. Councilman Gonzalez, great question. They are not consolidated in the sense that you're talking about. It's not just one entity. The Newark Downtown District, because of some of the bonds that it took out, has to remain a separate entity. Because it has to remain a separate entity, it has a separate budget. The Convention Bureau has been subsumed into Newark Alliance, and its budget will become a part of the Newark Alliance budget going forward.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. B.A. Any other questions on 7R2D? Councilman Ramos?
Yeah. We're talking about the downtown district's budget. I just want to, through your chair, send a letter to Evan from the Newark Alliance. We reached out to them on a few issues in the downtown area. There was a legal dumping issue on the corner of University and Branford, which is actually outside the downtown district, and they responded very quickly. So I think we already see some improvements in their operations, and I know they're looking to probably go ahead and hire for that, and also the Tourism Bureau, but definitely see an improvement as far as the downtown district's responses. And they're looking, and something we could talk to the BA about, according to Evan and conversation I had, to assist the city with some code enforcement matters in the downtown district as well. So it's good signs so far.
Great. Thank you, Councilman Ramos. Next item.
E is introducing and approving the 2025 annual budget of the Newark Alliance.
Questions from the council? Hearing none.
7R3A
Yeah,
is,
I'm sorry, Councilman Council.
Yeah, I do have some questions about the dollar amount that they're requesting, a 2.3 compared to what was given last year.
And this budget includes North Alliance and GNCVB, huh?
That's correct.
Go. All right, Cal.
We don't budget for the Newark Alliance. We did not, but going forward, we will.
Mhm.
And this is from the Convention Bureau. The question, Councilman Council, I'm not sure I understand the question. The amount of the money is derived from what the anticipated revenue will be from hotel usage, and it will be what's collected and sent to the Newark Alliance pursuant to the agreement with the Convention Bureau. So I'm not totally clear on the question, but I'm happy to try to answer it.
So we're a pass-through for
Yes, sir.
the amount that, because it's not part of the NDD, and although we are pass-through in terms of allocating the dollars, it gives the perception that we're increasing the budget.
The budget is a function of the revenue that comes from hotel nights. It's fairly straightforward. I'm still a little bit confused. It's just a very straightforward calculation.
The budget is based upon the anticipated revenue.
Yes.
This is a special improvement district essentially, but it doesn't derive revenue off the assessed value of property. Here, basically, it's a fee that's assessed to hotel nights.
Yes.
So depending on the number of nights that these hotels have occupancy, they feed money into the city, which then goes to tourism directly from us, based on what we collect, so.
The one question that I have is, let's say, if they estimate the revenue, what if the revenue falls short? Do they have recourse to come to the city to get the remaining monies needed?
No, it is a pass-through based on what is collected. Now, yes, I'll leave it at that. Then
Is this prior year, Eric, or current year?
current year.
Okay, so Councilman's point is, like, we're what, September? We should keep pretty good estimates on how much we're gonna collect. If there's a shortfall, then I'm sure it's made up somewhere in the subsequent year, hopefully.
That is the plan. Either way, actually.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Who keeps that number from our side? What the amount that comes in, like, to be able to know if it was up or was down? Who keeps that number? I know that it may be passed through, hotel tax may be passed through, but on the city side, who knows or has that information to say, this is the amount that was passed through or the information that was given?
Yeah, great question. Right now, it goes through EHD, but we're going to amend this ordinance in the next meeting or so to make sure it goes through special taxes, and they'll have that responsibility.
Any other questions? Thank you, BA. Next item.
7R3A is application acceptance of grant funds for the local aid infrastructure program.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
B is the support resolution to adopt Newark's procedures for administration and inspection of federal aid highway projects as required by the New Jersey Department of Transportation.
Questions from the council? Next item.
C is exception to public bidding to provide the service of a municipal engineer.
Questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
Yeah,
D is-
Mr. President.
Councilman Ramos.
I know we've been kicking back and forth oh no, this is the wrong one, sorry. It's a,
You're talking about the other one with the
yeah.
architect? You have any questions or concerns about the previous one? OCA architects, I think it's.
No, I just, at some point, I know I had asked like for a presentation on how it's gonna work for the city to serve as the developer of essentially a residential project. You know, I don't recall us ever authorizing the city to develop a residential project, especially one, the proposed magnitude of the one that we're looking at. So I just would like a presentation of how that's gonna work. You know, what kind of risk does that put, you know, the city in, potentially as a developer of a project, you know, ownership, all that. So, you know, just, we don't have to go through that today, but at some point, I think it would be helpful for us to understand how this is gonna work.
All right, no,
Mr. President.
Councilman.
If I may,
Councilman Gonzalez.
yes, we are hiring an engineer, but I get a lot of complaints about inspectors. Let's say the city seems to do not have enough inspectors to handle the construction that is going on in the city. And I have recommended many times that we consult with the local, let's say, cities around us. I understand also that the state allows private inspectors to do the inspection and then report to the city. So what are we doing? Because every time I go to relax myself and have a cigar, all the questions that I get are, what are we doing with the inspectors? Let's say we have to wait 3 months for an elevator inspector. We are losing monies in interest. We are losing money on rents. We are, let's say, we are losing, somebody told me the other day, $70,000 for 3 months that he had to wait for the elevator inspector. So what is it that we need to do?
Great question, Councilman Gonzalez. Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. I see Director Wooden is anxious to come up here and address that question, but I'll handle it for now. We're aggressively pursuing getting additional inspectors on behalf of the city. I think we discussed this before, but I'll reiterate it. We have had a problem with the salaries that we pay. They've been too low, and we are in a salary freeze and a hiring freeze, except in certain areas where they are revenue producing. This is one of those. So we're almost at a point where those salaries will be adjusted appropriately. Our one full-time elevator inspector happens to be out on medical leave right now. And we have a part-time person who obviously can't handle all of the work that we have. There is an opportunity to have third-party inspectors do the work, either to be retained by the people who want the inspection done or by the city. The city has gone out, solicited these third-party inspectors, elevator and otherwise, and we have gotten a minimal response. So we're still working to widen our approach to getting more inspectors here, both through employment and through the third-party inspection process. It has been a challenge, and we are focused on making sure that we get that addressed as immediately as possible. The $70,000 that you referenced, it's not really, we're losing it, it is deferred. We'd like to get it now, and we need to do a better job of getting more people on board to assist with engineering. They're in a crunch. They're in a labor crunch, and we have to be focused on that to address the issues that you raised.
It seems that the people don't know that they can go to a third-party inspector. And I believe that we should, let's say, we should instruct, or we should have something in writing to the developers that there is that opportunity, that option of going out and, let's say, contracting with somebody. And then I don't know how it works, but maybe, let's say, the city, they contract with the inspector, and the city gets some revenue from it. I don't know if how it works. But I believe that they should have that option. They don't know. They were telling me that in Florida they have that. But I told them, I said, there's a statute in New Jersey that allows that to happen. They don't know that it's allowed.
They do. I think that many of the larger developers do know, and they can handle the costs that are associated with that. To your point, if you use a third-party inspector, you have to pay that third-party inspector, and then the city has to approve the third-party inspector's analysis. So it does take a little bit of time. I don't know how much time you want to spend on this. Director Wooden is anxious to jump up here and answer your questions if you want her to come up.
Could I ask a question about this contract? So is this the contract to pay Mr. Adams, James Adams? Is this the municipal engineer contract?
When you say this, are we talking about this
The
global discussion
KS
or the municipal?
engineering contract, is that the one?
Yes, not James Adams specifically.
Well,
His firm.
in order for them to sign whatever permitting that the department needs,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. At what point do you think we'll have someone within the department that has the credentials to sign this documentation so that we don't have to spend $150,000 a year to do this? Because I know in the past we didn't need a contract for outside entity.
Yes, we have the personnel in-house now, and we're working to ensure that they are in a position to sign off. It's not that we're going to get rid of KS Engineering.
Yeah, they're using for other
Use them
things.
for other things, and we may still need to use them to assist with signing off on documents.
How many
But we have-
hours typically do we get them for this amount of money to sign documentation and things like that?
Yeah, it's an up to amount. So it's to the extent that we use them. It is, we've never exceeded the amount that has been authorized by the council. And I expect it'll be less and less because we expect to bring up, we have in-house PEs right now who will be designated as the entity, the person eligible to sign on behalf of the city in the engineering office.
Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Next, I'm sorry, Councilman Silva.
Mr. BA.
Yes.
I just have a question. When you use a third-party vendor,
Yes,
does that have to be right from the beginning of your development? Or does some type of agreement have to be written or halfway through? Because Councilman Gonzalez was saying someone is in that predicament today. Can they go out and
They
get that
can.
third-party vendor?
That is right. They can go out and get a third-party inspector now. Just has to be a DCA-approved third-party inspector. We have that information. They can get it from our engineering office as to who it is they can go out and utilize, and they can do it immediately.
Thank you.
Do we have a list of the inspectors that are approved?
It's on the DCA's website, but we can certainly get that to you from our engineering office if you want.
Okay, thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
right. Thank you. Next item.
D is a bid contract to provide structural repairs to 2 firehouses.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, next item.
7R4A is confirming bond sale.
Director Guzman.
Good morning, Benjamin Guzman, Acting
morning.
Director of Finance. This resolution, in order to authorize the sale of bonds and notes, is for the additional work that needed to be done, or the additional costs for the joint meeting project. Previously, this council had adopted ordinances to increase them out due to the cost overruns that were in effect because of the COVID epidemic. This allows us to go out to be able to sell the bonds and notes through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank for that additional amount.
Thank you. Any questions? Next item.
B is an alternate method of calculating the reserves for uncollected taxes.
Again, you're reading my mind. Director Guzman.
Yes, this is just to authorize the calculation for the reserve for uncollected taxes for the city's 2025 budget.
And Councilman Gonzalez.
I saw that the estimated collection rate is like 95%.
Correct, yes, slightly over that.
So the 5%, if we have the sale of, let's say in December, of the taxes that are due, and we collect throughout the year, normally we had more than 95% collection rate.
Slightly, well, the 95% collection rate, you see that's the collection rate for 2024, based off of the annual financial statement, what we've collected in tax revenue, and then also reducing that by the tax appeals that were awarded throughout the year. But yes, to your point, if once we finish the year and we do a tax sale, any additional revenues that we collect due to that tax sale will be included in the percentage of collection when we complete our annual
Then
finance.
that would be used for next year.
Correct, for next year, correct.
Okay.
Other questions? Thank you, Director.
You're welcome.
Next item.
7R5A is an open-ended contract to provide animal impoundment and sheltering.
Questions from the council? Saying, Councilman.
Yeah, and not a question. I would just ask through your chair and the clerk, maybe if we can schedule, a tour of the Humane. It's been some years since I've been there. Maybe a few of us at a time can be invited.
Yes, sir.
Next item.
It's Councilman Silva's ward, so we gotta ask permission.
Mr. Chair, I just, I had the opportunity to visit the Humane Society. They're doing a lot of projects down there, a couple of upgrades. I know there's been some transition in leadership as well, but in lieu of the contract that we had, my concern is just making sure that we get the proper information out to Newark residents about the care that they have down there, one, and then two, the amount of discounts and things that are given to Newark residents at that facility compared to individuals who may be bringing in, cats or dogs from outside of that area. I know there has been an abundance amount of cats that are now in the facility, and they've created a whole different kind of area just to house them, but then also to figure out, what it is that is happening down there with the amount of stray dogs that they're bringing in. It is just an abundance of, pit bulls and other animals. And so we don't know what that looks like in terms of swap outs, what's going to other areas or other places, because not only do it lays itself as a kennel, but it also lays itself as an adoption place. And so there may be some quality animals that may be taken in that instead of coming to the location at the Humane Society in Newark, that may be shipped off to other places like Shaker Paw and 22 and some other areas where they're selling these dogs at a larger amount.
Thank you, Council.
Yeah, Mr. President.
Council Ramos.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman Council. I think he brings up a great point. I know other shelters like Bloomfield, they routinely pick up animals from the Humane Society. I think that the sheer volume that we have to deal with compared to other shelters around the state it's incredible. And, I've had the privilege of meeting some amazing volunteers that spend time at the Humane Society. One of the things I'd like to see if the health department could talk to us about at some point, at least with cats, is a trap and release program. I mean, and just in the neighborhood alone, you see, unfortunately, a lot of stray cats, and they can produce large quantities within a short period of time, and so I don't know if that's a role that the municipality can take or partner with somebody to assist us. We have one homeowner in Forest Hill who voluntarily does this. I've donated cat food to her. She has a makeshift shelter set up in her garage, but she's just one person, so.
Thank you, council members. Next item.
B is application acceptance of grant funds to provide oral health care to New Jersey's uninsured residents.
Questions for the council? Hearing none, next item.
C is amending acceptance of grant funds to extend grant period for the COVID-19 related expenses.
Questions from the council? Next item.
Just real quick,
Councilman
I just want to go back to the health and community wellness 7R5B. How will this is healthcare, oral healthcare, dental healthcare, I'm believing for the residents. How will the residents apply for, to get the services?
Director Osborne.
Good morning, Ketlin Osbrook, Director for the Department of Health. Residents don't have to apply specifically for these dollars. Ketlin Osbrook, Director for the Department of Health. Residents don't have to apply specifically for these dollars. They can register as patients at our health center, and they will receive services based on their income and eligibility for insurance. Patients who have no insurance, we do have uncompensated care dollars that cover the cost of the services that they receive.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, while I'm at the mic, just to go back to Councilman Ramos's comments about trap, neuter, and release programs. We are actually introducing legislation to the council. It should reach you at the next month's meeting to introduce policies around trap, neuter, and release for feral cats in our city.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item.
D is acceptance of a donation of food truck services for National Health Centers Week.
Questions? Next item.
7R 6A and B are settlements for executive session. 7R 8A is a ceremonial street designation for Verdell Uri. This is going to be amended on the floor to reflect the date of October 4th, 2025, sponsored by Councilman Quintana.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Kelly.
Duly noted. B is waiving special event application permit fees for the South 13th Street Block Association Party, sponsored by Council President Crum.
Second.
Second by Councilman.
Duly noted. C is waiving special event application permit fees for the 18th Avenue Block Party, sponsored by Council President Crum.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted. D is waiving special event application permit fees for the Tillinghast Block Party, sponsored by Councilman Council.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Scott Roundtree.
Duly noted. E is waiving special event application permit fees for the La Barranquitanas.
Somebody help.
Barranquiteños.
The end.
Butchered that.
Muchas gracias.
Gracious.
Multicultural Festival, sponsored by Councilman Ramos.
Second.
Second. I didn't get the second. Who was the second? I missed it. Councilman Quintana.
7R8F is recognizing and commending resolutions. And 7R8G is expressing profound sorrow and regret.
Questions? Next item.
7R9A is amending resolution to increase grant funding for the purchase of 2 or more fire trucks.
Questions? Next item.
7R10A is application acceptance of grant funds to provide litter control and education.
Questions from the council? I think we talked about that enough. Next item.
Communications. Item 8A is an ordinance granting a 20-year tax abatement to Gomes Green Urban Renewal LLC to construct 28 residential rental units with 6 affordable housing rental units in the East Ward.
Any questions from the
I'd
council?
like to sponsor this.
Sponsored by Councilman Silva. Second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Kelly.
Duly noted. B is an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Tiger 31V LLC to exchange land located on Pennsylvania Avenue for certain city-owned properties located at 54 Wright Street and 56 Wright Street located in the South Ward.
Questions from the council?
President, yes. Do we have
Explanation.
assessments or estimates of the values of the properties being exchanged?
Any from Economic Housing Development?
Good morning again, Brandy Daniel, Legislative Coordinator for Economic and Housing Development.
Good
I
morning.
can get you the assessments today, but they are equal. They are equal, but I can get you the assessments by the end of today.
Yeah, I would like to see the assessed
swap value?
values or let's say, if there is an appraisal of both properties, I would like to see that.
I can get that to you
make
today.
sure that we are exchanging similar properties in value.
No problem. I can get that to you today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Daniel. Next item.
C is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement to 1007-1009 Broad Development Urban Renewal LLC for a project to construct a new 6-story building consisting of 48 market rate residential rental units, 8 affordable housing rental units, of which 1 unit shall be restricted to tenants at 40% of area medium income or AMI, 2 units shall be restricted to tenants at 60% AMI, and 5 units shall be restricted to tenants at 80% AMI in the Central Ward.
Any questions from the council? Hearing none. Next item.
D is an ordinance amending and supplementing soil erosion and sediment control with definitions and fees to be addressed.
Can we get an explanation on this one? I know it involves a decrease in certain fees. I think for single family, but we have Director of Engineering coming up.
Good morning, Council President, Council members. Dolores Martinez Wood, I'm Director of the Department of Engineering. In this ordinance, we are trying to amend soil erosion fees, which working with the HEPC, the Regional Soil Erosion Authority in the area, have recognized that our fees have been low for a few years. They needed to be updated. So we are doing this in this ordinance at this point. And this is mainly for development areas lower than 5,000 square feet that the city has jurisdiction over.
Councilman Council.
Yeah, Director Wooten, so in some of the areas we are lowering the fees and we added an application fee. Has there been any data around the amount that you believe that we can collect from the fees that we're adding additionally?
So you mean like data, like how much is gonna go up or how
With
many
the
qualify
additional-
for
with,
this?
with the additional fees that we're adding, right? So in one area, we're lowering some fees. So it may have been $495, now it's $350. But on the opposite end, we're adding, I believe it's an application fee, right? And so the application fee may be $300 or $250, right? Is there some quantitative breakdown to say, based off of these fees, this is how much revenue the city can expect in this year?
Okay.
Period time.
Okay, yes, I can go back into what we have thus far and the projects that we apply the fees to and see in an average of a year, how much we can be forecasting.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, Director. Next item.
E is an ordinance providing for Green Street projects and other related expenses and appropriating $6,500,000 to finance same. There's a motion to advance and adopt this item on first reading.
Director Guzman.
Good morning, Benjamin Guzman, Department of Finance. Again, this is the through the Department of Water and Sewer, the Green Streets project, in order to fund that project for $6.5 million. Again, the funding will be done through the New Jersey Infrastructure Bank, and then we're requesting that to be advanced and adopted on first reading, so that way we could get in front of them sooner rather than later, so we could apply for the funding.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the council?
Do we know how many stormwater management projects have been completed so far, and then how many more we have to go under this?
I would defer to Director Adeem,
Okay.
and because they have the more day-to-day operational information on this. With the finance department is just assisting them in being able to attain the financing.
Yeah, I know a few were Clinton Avenue, and I know there was another area that was done, but just to find out which ones we have that is coming up in the future.
Yeah, again, I would assume Director Adeem would have that information.
Yeah.
Is Director Adeem in the room? I think he messed up down. So let's, Madam Clerk, if we can get a follow-up for Councilman Council's question. Councilman Council, you have something else you wanted to add? Or? Okay.
Absolutely. Pending
you.
business on the agenda, item 9A is an ordinance amending by extending the time limits on parking and street parking boundaries. There's a request to advance and adopt this item on first reading also.
Can we Director rolled in the room. Let's roll it back to the last item before we get there. Director, I don't know if you heard the question from Councilman Council.
The Green Street projects?
If not, go ahead.
Right. The Green
Councilman,
Street-
you want to reiterate your question?
The number that we had completed so far, and then what we have that is coming up. I know there was.
We've completed 3 so far. We have a total of 13. Then we completed Clinton and Badger. There's one that we completed. MLK and Central.
And was the one located, I believe that's First Street. And I know they're doing there was some landscape issues around the park renovation, but was that part of the project for the Green Street renovation as well?
I can't remember the one on First Street. I know it's some in every ward, South. All 5 wards have Green Street projects. So we completed 3 in 3 different wards.
Anything else? Thank you, Director. All right, back to 9.
Item 10, miscellaneous.
No, let's go back to 9.
Oh, my apologies. 9A is an ordinance amending and extending the time limits on parking and street parking boundaries. And there's a request to advance and adopt on first.
Thank you. There is I guess the Director of Engineering should come up maybe first and introduce the Executive Director. Well, let's just get the Executive Director up. Come on up here then. Give a brief an explanation of what this ordinance is going to do.
Yeah, good morning, Council President, council members. I don't know if there's any questions, but I can give you a quick high-level overview of this. So,
and I'm sorry, for the
Anthony
record,
Mack, Executive Director, Newark Parking Authority.
Thank you.
I believe each of you have a bullet point sheet that was distributed to you or to your office. So what this ordinance amendment is pretty much a collaboration between Department of Engineering, the Parking Authority, and the Business Administrator's Office to try to create more parking opportunities. So on-street parking obviously can't be increased because we're not building new streets, but what we can do is try to create more parking opportunities. This ordinance amendment will, in our estimation, create approximately 350 new parking opportunities throughout the downtown district, primarily focus on streets like Division Street, between McCarter Highway and Broad Street, where people park on both sides of the street every day, all day, mostly people from out of town for free, and then get on the Broad Street train and go to wherever they're gonna go and come back. This ordinance amendment would extend hours on a street like that till 10 p.m., allow people to park for 8 hours. It would decrease traffic congestion, and it would create turnover, giving other people in the area opportunities to park. Another such example, Orange Street, 7th Avenue, those streets people park, go to the Broad Street train station, New Street, Newark Street, above NJIT, people park and go to the school, colleges every day, all day, not creating turnover and opportunity for other people to come in. And with the extending and increasing hours of businesses and events, this is part of an ongoing effort in trying to create curb management. The other thing I think is very important, you should understand, is that creating these hours and these parking, converting these free spaces into on-street paid spaces is going to create also increased public safety, because now we'll have officers in those areas patrolling on streets like Division Street, New Street, Warren Street, Newark Street, where otherwise we're getting reports of people's students and other people's cars getting broken into. There'll be a presence, creating a public safety presence there. And we also have lost approximately the past 2 years about 650 parking spaces due to development and changes in the zoning law. For example, like with the Halo Street project, the new family courthouse building, the parking deck on Wycliffe Street, the PSNG transfer station on Washington Street. So as we lose these spaces, we're trying to create other opportunities for residents as well as commuters to park. This doesn't incur any increase in rates or anything like that.
Thank you, Director. Any questions from the council? Councilman Ramos.
No, thank you, Mr. President. For you, Anthony, I think at some point you guys should do like I don't know if it's a parking authority or it's engineering's responsibility, but kind of a citywide assessment on parking. I know we have pockets, I could speak in the North Ward, of areas that are in close proximity to like the city subway, Heller Parkway, Branch Brook Place, some areas around Bloomfield Avenue where similar situation, people will come in, they'll park, they'll be there all day. They're not from the area, but it's like a park and ride for them because they're able to access the city subway, go work in New York, Jersey City, come back at the end of the day. So, those areas I think also need, some creative thinking to create some turnaround of parking. So, I know we kind of do this piecemeal, but I think at some point, maybe it's in the authority's best interest to collaborate with the city to do a kind of a citywide assessment to see what areas would benefit from these kind of restrictions, protecting obviously residents' ability to park, but at the same time, limiting outsiders from coming in and parking all day on our city streets.
Yeah, I agree. And great minds think alike, because we just had a meeting the other day with the business administrator, the director of Newark Alliance, myself, and the director of Marcus Randolph at Invest Newark. And we discussed a citywide parking study coming up very soon.
It's good news.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any other question? Councilman Gonzalez first, and then.
Yes, Director, what happened to the zone parking that we have been talking about for years?
Yeah, good question. That is something that the parking study is going to definitely help facilitate. So that is still on the agenda.
Thank you.
Councilman Council.
Yes, I don't know if it's part of the parking
I'm sorry,
study.
I can't hear you.
Can we get the audience to be?
Yeah, I'm not aware if it's part of the parking study as well, but at some point, the capacity for the parking authority to be able to bond and get his own tow trucks, I think is essential. I know we work with a few companies here that we contract out to, but in terms of the amount of truck traffic and other violations that is being done, and not necessarily by residents, but the influx of people coming into the city, it would be in the best interest of the parking authority to be able to look into some kind of towing capacity, to be able to be partners with these other entities, but also to set the precedents and create another platform for revenue as we move along. So some of these little intermediate things that are being done is fine, but until we build out a stronger kind of movement of how the authority can be essential to working with the administration, I think we really have to, sit down and begin to draw this out, and it's becoming, essential as the city continues to grow. We have to begin to find ways with partners to really be partners, and not just in a sense of some of these small things, but in larger ventures.
I completely agree, and that is one of the things on the horizon with this concept of curb management. It will require an ordinance creation. We have already looked into that when the police department contracted with the automated company to help them with their towing. I think there were some technical issues that didn't allow the parking authority to get in on that deal. But if we can acquire some property to have a tow yard and then bond to be able to go into that business, that's definitely something that we would look to do.
Yeah, I mean, just not only in the capacity of towing, but booting and all of the other things. There's a plethora of different spaces that operate their own authorities that begin to do this, that helps out in a larger range in terms of, revenue capacity, and then also putting a strain and emphasis on, quality of life issues as well.
I agree.
Thank you. Councilman Silva.
Yeah, good afternoon, or good morning still.
morning.
Listen, you guys are already out there killing my residents. Every day I get complaints. It's not Newark Police, it's you guys. You show no mercy. And a lot of the streets that you put down the East Ward aren't even close to Penn Station. So it's not like out-of-towners are parking in spots like this. So about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I asked for permit parking in an entire section, and the signs were never even posted. And so I think this is just another way of probably screwing our residents. I don't see any benefit in it, and everybody else can have their opinion, but I'm just letting you know that I don't see any benefit in this. If you can sit there and explain to me how somebody who works hard all day comes and can't park for a certain time and see the benefit in that, then I'm not sure what we're getting to here. But again, I don't agree with this. I'm voting no on this. And I think every day you guys are just trying to find a way to screw our residents. So that's just my opinion.
Any other questions from the council? Hearing none. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Item 10A is the raffle license.
Questions from the council? Next item.
Public comment. We are now in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting. where
Mr.
each-
Chair, yeah, before I'm going to have to excuse myself, but I just want to follow up on requests that my office made to do a walkthrough on Clifton Avenue. We had a pedestrian that was killed, unfortunately, a little over a week ago in a vehicular accident. Pedestrian was walking our dog. I know Senator Ruiz's office reached out to schedule a walkthrough. I sent the BA a request last week, so just put that on your radar and the clerk for follow-up. Because her office did reach out yesterday to see where that request was. Okay.
Follow up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are in the 30-minute public comment portion of this meeting where each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name for the record.
Fakira Bradley, can I please leave my address off the record, please, and thank you. I want to address the leadership in this room, not the council, the leadership. In every city, leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the future, and Newark is no exception. We are a city with deep roots, powerful voices, and passionate leaders. I'm a leader who care about our community. I care about my community. However, leadership is not just about holding titles. It's about building bridges, not burning them. There are leaders in Newark, elected, unelected, who work tirelessly every day to uplift our neighborhoods, support our family, and bring investment and opportunity into our city. The efforts deserve recognition, even if we don't always agree with every policy or decision. At the same time, we must acknowledge the criticism is a part of democracy. Holding public officials accountable is healthy when it's done with facts, respect, and intention to improve, not tear down. But when criticism turns into personal attacks, baseless accusations, or devices, rhetoric, it weakens our community rather than strengthens it. Good leaders inspire, progress, listen to different perspectives, and lead by example. They disagree without disrespect and debate without destruction. Newark deserves leadership at every level. Elected officials, let me calm down because I really want to choose somebody out, but I ain't gonna do it. Elected officials, community organizers, business leaders, and everyday citizens who are committed to progress, unity, and truth. Whether you support, challenge the mayor and the city council, do so with a vision and a better Newark, and not a lot of noise. Chamber, Louise Scott Roundtree, I love you and I appreciate everything you did for me. Council President, Pat Council, thank you for those who be there. Everybody got flaws. Don't let them tear you down. I got your back 100%. And I love you.
Next speaker.
Deborah Salters. I'm going to defer myself with this parking business. I wasn't even here to talk about that. But the audacity for Anthony Mack to get up here and try to further bleed the residents dry. Over 3 years, we're going on like 4 years now plus. And I spoke to, and where are you council people that are supposed to be in these seats when we're talking? Bring your butts in here so you can listen to the residents. Now, yeah, I heard him say that. But we've been talking about this over and over. They didn't do a traffic study, and I spoke to the at-larges when there was no representation. They just took the parking boxes where you're supposed to pay completely out of the Central Ward, setting people up for tickets. People asking, well, can I still park here? I don't know what to do. Then the tickets have been raised to $85 for overtime meters. During COVID, the residents who live here were parked on the streets. When parking, everybody was told to stay home, still giving out tickets. You got 2 or 3 people, and I've seen it. I've done the parking study. I did the parking study. I did the petitions that were signed by the residents for our parking decals. And you come up in here, and I'm being targeted now by your parking authority people. Director Joaquin has been told about it, and it still goes on. I have pictures, I have videos that I will present in court. You target who you want to target, but the residents of the city of Newark are being bled dry. And you all have done nothing. I told you, and Larry, you work with these people. I told you what they're doing to the residents. And then you're gonna come up here and wanna pass another ordinance to bleed us more dry? You all are not paying the citizens of Newark livable wages. You're not doing it. We have to travel outside of the city where we pay our taxes, pay our water bills to get a paycheck that will afford us to live in the city that our people built and held together. This is unconscionable. And between the 3 of you council people up here, you have almost 100 years of service. And what do we have to show for it? Continually beat down, broken, stolen from, continually, with no relief. But you don't live like this. How dare he even have the audacity to come up here and ask for more space to run our pockets? And you're gonna sit up here and say yes. You need to be fired.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, council members. Deborah
Good
Matson.
afternoon. Good morning.
First, I want to say thank you. Riviera passed. I am Team Riviera. I am grateful for that. Councilman Ramos, Quintana, and Gonzalez, you guys didn't vote no, you abstained. Thank you, because that's telling me that there's possibly more information that needs to come to you. Whatever the case may be, thank you for that. I want to address an article and tap into one where it was mentioned that I was the lone advocate. Yeah, I was, because I was enough. I was all that was needed. At any time, if I have to line them up, look what happened with Miles Berger. Who do you guys think organized that? Look what happened when I bought him out before. It is not always about bringing tons of people to a mic to address issues, yelling, screaming, being irate, talking down on you guys. It's just not about that all the time to get something done. Secondly, I took it as this writer trying to single out or attempting to single out Councilman Silva because he voted in favor of it, right? And I thought the article was distasteful. Councilman Silva may have voted against it, but we don't know what conversations he's had and who he's had it with when it was deferred several times. We don't know if there was some information he received that made him lean more towards it or against it, right? We don't know. Well, I know At the end of the day, he realizes that people need help. I mean, isn't that what it's about? Trying to help our homeless folks? So kudos to Councilman Silver. And I don't care what no one says about him. He's a great councilman and a great person. And I speak from a place where I've had dealings with him. I called him when 50-something people were at the Robert Treat burned out from one of Daniel Spiegel's homes. And he stopped what he was doing and he came there and I asked him what he needed me to do and he put together a plan. That plan was executed and every last one of them were taken care of. When myself, Jacqueline Lighthouse, and Tanya Tucker, the LVP, had a domestic violence victim and we were pulling our hair out trying to figure it out, when I came up with something, I called Councilman Silver for funding. He told me where I needed to go and guess what? She was a Black woman. Because I hear a lot of, oh, the Portuguese support the Portugals and the Hispanics and the Latinas and the Black. He didn't know this was a Black woman to right now. And you know what? If you need to take vacation or you have a family crisis and you two councilmen take it, all of you take it, you're entitled to it. I'm not done. I'll be back tomorrow. God bless you guys.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Manera El Bumani. Another 4 years of this administration is called insanity. Another 4 years of this administration is insanity, Newarkers. Insanity. For the parking authority, the only thing that needs to happen is an outside independent audit and investigation. These people are incapable of monitoring themselves. Incapable. In the words of Cassandra Dot, pathetic. No other way to describe the BA, the Corporation Council, the department heads in the city, the Newark City Council, and the Baraka administration. Pathetic. No other way to describe you. Homeowners, 80% renters who voted for this failed leadership. Here's your consequences. Here's your consequences. To the homeowners, to the 80% renters who voted for this administration, here is your consequences. Corruption, crime, filthy streets, potholes, poor municipal services, high taxes, high rents, high foreclosures, predatory ticket and towing. And you got this man going around preaching every mayor, every Black mayor across the city and state should rise up against Trump administration. How dare you? How dare you? You better work on your backyard. Every Newarker in this city should rise up against you, Rash Baraka, and your failed administration, and your failed council, and your failed department heads. You are pathetic. No other way to describe you. In Newark, Newarkers, another 4 years is insanity. Insanity. Wake up out of your stupor. Wake up and stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Wake up and stop taking the blood money because it's on your hands. Failed leadership, no other way.
Thank you for your
to describe you.
Next speaker.
You are disgusting.
Good morning, George Tillman Jr.,
Council President. I've asked several times, and it's not only you as Council President, I've asked the former Council President to address this issue with the non-compliance of the government. At this point, we've come to a very serious situation where you have the chairman of the Tax Abatement Committee boycotting those meetings. You have Councilman Silva also boycotting the Affirmative Action Review Council meeting because of this non-compliance. We had a tax abatement moratorium that was initiated by Councilman Gonzalez, and he went forth with that action on August the 13th, and a tax abatement committee meeting went forth without him, the chairperson, being there, and Councilwoman Roundtree facilitated that tax abatement committee meeting. So are we going forth now with the tax abatement committee meeting with only 2 members? We have all this confusion going on, but yet we cannot get a special conference to address what's going on with this non-compliance issue. Councilwoman Roundtree talked about the administration talking about a process. This process has been going on for 2 years and still going on. When we talked about trying to get this addressed, try to get it addressed with former Council President LaMonica McIver, and to no avail. And I've been asking you the same question to get a special conference to address this. And it needs to be addressed at this point, because there's no way we continue with the tax abatement committee now with 2 members, not having all 3 that should be there, don't have a sitting chairperson. I don't know how Councilman Council even took and facilitated that meeting when Councilman Gonzalez took a stance to boycott it. Councilwoman Roundtree also attended that meeting when Councilman Gonzalez said that it was going to be boycotted so we can have this tax abatement moratorium so that the government can come into compliance. There's no reason why these council people should be supporting this administration. You should not be attending these meetings when you represent the citizens, because Councilman Gonzalez took a stance for the citizens because the government is not compliant. They're not right. So why are we not having a special conference to address this matter? We're 2 years in and counting. Please. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker. Seeing none, public speaking is now closed. Anything from the council? Anything from the administration before executive session? Can I get a motion for executive session?
Council,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Quintana. Ramos absent. Scott Roundtree.
Yes.
Silva.
Yes.
President Crump.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, let's go upstairs quickly.